I'm R.J. Munt, president of the Cremation Society of Wisconsin and owner of Stokes Crockett Munt Funeral Chapels. I've been in funeral service for many, many years. And oftentimes the question comes up, if I want to be cremated, do I need to be embalmed? In some states, embalming is required by law, but not in every state. Generally speaking, the purpose of embalming is to primarily disinfect the remains so that they're not contagious to the living. Most people don't realize that when we die, the bacteria and viruses in our bodies, once our immune system is inactivated, actually grow and proliferate within the body, use it as a culture medium for growth. So that body can become potentially hazardous to the living, especially if they're grieving. Because when we grieve, our immune response is suppressed. So it makes us more susceptible to bacteria that normally might not be pathogenic to us because of our diminished immune response. Embalming inactivates all those bacteria and viruses and enzymes that are released within the cells of our body. It's our self-destruct mechanism. Embalming inactivates that so that we can have the person be preserved so that they could be viewed for funeralization if that's what people want, if they want a public viewing. Another purpose of it is to restore the person to a lifelike form and color, which is more positive for the people that are viewing that person. Because oftentimes when people die, they have post-mortem discolorations because the blood is no longer circulating in the body. So they may get a blue color or they have staining of their tissues, which is something that is not a positive thing to be seeing. And embalming will eliminate that. But embalming has to be, we have to have permission from the family to actually do the process in our particular state. Years ago, it was more of an implied consent law. Every person that we handled for a funeral, almost every single time they were embalmed. But that was the only way that we could preserve them. Most funeral homes didn't have refrigeration. And even to this day, many funeral homes do not have refrigeration, or are they required to have refrigeration. Embalming is something that has been around for a long, long time. Many people are familiar with the Egyptian embalming methods when they created a mummy. That was a situation where the body was soaked in a solution for up to 30 or 60 days. All the organs were removed and put in separate canopic jars. It was all tied to their religion and their belief in a resurrection of the body at some future time. Modern embalming really got its start during the Civil War. There was a doctor by the name of Dr. Holmes who embalmed several thousand soldiers that had fallen during the Civil War, preserved them so they could be shipped home to their families and viewed again before burial. This had really never been done before. So he was kind of a pioneer of this, and after that, modern embalming became more and more popular. People wanted to preserve the remains for a short period of time so they could have a service. And as time went on, it just became more popular and more popular and more popular. In this day and age, with cremation growing as much as it has been, more and more people are requesting of us not to embalm the person, but they still want to have a viewing because they want to have closure. Because a lot of times, seeing is believing. When we confront death, we're more easily going to accept it. So we've had to devise ways to disinfect the person without embalming, so that there's no danger for the living. And what embalming really is, modern embalming, and I really should explain that, is that we introduce a preservative and disinfectant chemical into a major artery, much like an IV. It goes through the arterial system, pushes the blood and lymph and other body fluids ahead, and then we take our corresponding drainage from a major vein. Many people think that that's all there is to it, but it actually goes all the way down to the cellular level. So all the individual cells are also fixed with the embalming chemical, which stops decomposition. It also inactivates bacteria and viruses.